everybody. So, great financial numbers you saw. Low inflation, very low inflation. Prices are down, way down. Gasoline is less than $2 in many places, a gallon, which nobody expected to see, but I did, because we're going by the initial expression of drill, baby drill, and prices are coming down very strongly. And as goes gasoline and oil and gas, so goes the rest of other products that were high because of Biden. So we inherited a mess, and we've brought our country back very, very powerfully. Crime numbers are way down, despite the fact that they let in 25 million people, many of whom should not have been allowed into our country with their open border policy. But it's the country's doing very well. Any questions?
What are you expecting from these Iran talks in Geneva tomorrow?
So I'll be involved in those talks indirectly, and they'll be very important. We'll see what can happen. It's been typically Iran's a very tough negotiator. They're good negotiators, or bad negotiators. I would say they're bad negotiators, because we could have had a deal instead of sending the B-2s in to knock out their nuclear potential, and we had to send the B-2s. I hope they're going to be more reasonable. They want to make a deal.
Have you been told that a deal is next to impossible?
No. I think they want to make a deal. I don't think they want the consequences of not making a deal. They want to make a deal.
Are you going to sit down with Democrats this week on DHS funding, sir?
I will, but, we have to protect our law enforcement. They've done a great job. I just got finished saying that we have the best crime numbers we've had in many years, and on murders, 125 years. And that's despite a lot of people that shouldn't have been let into our country coming into our country, criminals, many, many criminals. But we've taken out tens of thousands of people, brought them back to their countries. Many of the criminals that were brought in, allowed to come in, have been removed. So, we're okay. But to have the best crime numbers, which aren't made by me, these are made by people that do that, many left-leaning. We have the best murder numbers. Horrible thing to say, but we have the best murder numbers since 1900. That's before my father was born. 125 years, think of it. The best crime numbers since 1900, having to do with murder, and really good crime numbers, the best in years.
Are there any demands that Democrats are making that you're okay with?
Well, I don't like some of the things they're asking for. We're going to protect law enforcement. We're going to protect ICE. They're part of the whole system that is working. In Washington, D.C. now is considered a very safe city. When I took over, it was a city that you were losing 2-3 people a week. Over 100 people a year were being murdered in Washington. Now it's considered a very safe city. And we did that. I did it over a fairly short period of time, too.
On DHS, recent news reports have discussed the widespread belief that Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski are in a personal relationship. Is that a bad look? Recent news reports have discussed the possibility that Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski are in a close personal relationship. Is that a bad look, and do you think she'll be in the job much longer?
I don't know about that. I haven't heard that, but I'll find out about it, but I have not heard it.
Do you think that will you give your State of the Union speech if we're still in a shutdown next week?
Well, I think I would. Wouldn't bother me. I would give it, yeah.
How are the negotiations going?
With what? Which one? We have a lot of negotiations.
No, with the government shutdown.
This is a Democrat shutdown. This has nothing to do with Republicans. This is a Democrat shutdown. They're upset that the crime numbers are so good. They're very unhappy that the crime numbers are so good. They're very unhappy that there's a movement for getting voter ID. They want voter ID. The population, 98%, want voter ID. They don't want voter ID because they want to cheat in elections. They also want other things. They don't want mail-in ballots. They want to end mail-in ballots, which is corrupt. And one other thing that they're insisting on is proof of citizenship. And the Democrats don't want to give proof of citizenship. They don't want to give voter ID. Think of it. Who wouldn't want proof of citizenship? I ask you, Steve. Who wouldn't want voter ID? And why would you want mail-in ballots if you know it's corrupt? It's a corrupt system. We're the only country in the world that has this system of mail-in ballots. Think of it. The only country in the world that has this system of mail-in ballots, because they cheat. And the fact is they could never get elected if they ever changed. They know it. If you had voter ID, If you had proof of citizenship, they could never win an election, and they know that, and they're fighting to the hill. And I put this down with men playing in women's sports. I put it down with transgender for everybody. I put it down with their horrible open border policy as being ridiculous. They don't want voter ID, no voter ID. And I put that down in the same category with men playing in women's sports. I'm going to add a fourth category. They don't want voter ID. Go ahead.
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response to that?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, a sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know, they're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think that she should publicly testify?
You know, I've been totally exonerated on Epstein, and it's really interesting because they've been pulled in. Think of it. They've been pulled in. Clinton and many other Democrats have been pulled in, yeah.
The USS Gerald Ford, which is sprinting from the Caribbean to the Middle East, is about to hit its 8-month deployment mark. Usually they're deployed for about 6 months or so. Is there any concern that U.S. carriers are being stretched too thin?
I'll answer the question later.
Mr. President, you're warning Cuba to make a deal. What does that deal look like? What do you want them to do?
Cuba is right now a failed nation. They don't even have jet fuel to get for airplanes to take off. They're clogging up their runway. We're talking to Cuba right now. I have Marco Rubio talking to Cuba right now, and they should absolutely make a deal because it's really a humanitarian threat. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, and they're going to be very happy when they're going to be able to go back and say hello to their relatives and do things that they should have been allowed to do for a long time. I'm very interested in the people that are here that were treated so badly by Castro and the Cuban authorities. They have been treated horribly. So we'll see how it all turns out. But Cuba and us, we are talking. In the meantime, there's an embargo. There's no oil. There's no money. There's no anything.
If a deal isn't made, would you consider an operation like the one in Venezuela?
I don't want to answer that. Why would I answer that? If I was, it wouldn't be a very tough operation, as you can figure. But I don't think that'll be necessary.
Mr. President, Marco Rubio received really positive reviews in Munich. Is there
very good reviews.
Is there a scenario in which you would support him at the top of the ticket in 28?
Something I don't have to worry about now. I've got 3 years to go. So it's something I don't have to worry. JD's fantastic and Marco's, they're both fantastic. I think Marco did a great job in Munich.
President Xi, in your talk with him recently, it warned about sending more weapons to Taiwan. What was your response to him? Are you going to send more weapons to Taiwan?
I have a response. I'm talking to him about it. We had a good conversation, and we'll make a determination pretty soon.
Tell us about your trip
We have a very good relationship with President Xi. In fact, I'll be going, I guess, in April.
I'm sorry. Tell us about your trip to Rome, Georgia on Thursday, your trip to Marjorie Taylor Greene's old district.
Well, we have a lot of people that want to take Marjorie Taylor Greene's place. And many, many candidates, and I have to choose one. And they say whoever I endorse is going to win. But we have a lot of good candidates who want to take her place.
So your Court of Peace meets for the first time this week. You said it could be the most consequential international organization ever. That's a high bar. What do you want for this first meeting?
Well, I think it can be. We're going to have all world leaders. They're putting up tremendous amounts of money. And I think it's going to go far beyond Gaza. I think it'll be peace all over the world. And we're working in conjunction with the United Nations. Look, the United Nations is there. They haven't lived up to potential. The United Nations has great potential. They haven't lived up to the potential. But I think they might aid us a little bit. But we have the greatest leaders in the world joining the Board of Peace. And we'll be doing it in conjunction with, in some cases, the United Nations. And see if we can get the United Nations to get on the ball.
You've been a kingmaker in a lot of Republican primaries. A lot of people,
including foreign nations. I was very honored to see that a very wonderful prime minister in Japan won by a landslide. I think she was going to win, but she won by just about the biggest vote ever in Japan. And she attributed my endorsement for that. And that's very good because